Egghead Island has come to an end, and what an arc it was. For all that it beheld, it was certainly an arc of multiple powerhouse characters. With all the feats witnessed, there are multiple ways you could rank these guys, and today I will be doing just that. What's up everyone, my name is Verdix, and today I'm going to be ranking the top 10 strongest characters on Egghead Island. Just a note, we are only going to be discussing the characters on Egghead Island itself. Nobody in any outside events will be discussed. And today, I brought on Restless Gambler to help me out. His link will be in the description, go check him out. And before we get in, make sure to hit that sub button. I put out quality content like this weekly, you won't want to miss. But first, do you guys ever go through your wardrobe and realize, damn, I really got no drip? Well, I got you guys with Anime Express. They have tons of amazing hoodies, shirts, pants, and shorts from your favorite series. But that's not it. They have some of the sickest chains and rings in the game to go along with their fit. Personally, me, I love this Bleach Gremjow hoodie they got. The quality is amazing and way more than just a print-on picture a lot of these other companies like to put out. On top of this, they have very comfortable prices, so you don't have to spend an unnecessary amount. And if you use code VERDIX10 at checkout, you will get 10% off your order. Link will be in the description. Anime Express, ladies and gentlemen, some of the best quality and prices in the game. Starting off at number 10, we have Rob Lucci. This guy's reintroduction into the story had some people hyped, and understandably so, due to him and Luffy's first fight at Enies Lobby being amazing. The second meeting would be Luffy's very first fight after taking down Kaido, where he used Gear 5 and utterly obliterates Lucci. Granted, the strength Luffy is at now, only a few people obtain, but still, this performance by Lucci here was definitely lackluster. He couldn't land any hits in on Luffy, and after 3 attacks, Lucci was done for, but he still is able to stand up and walk around for a few minutes later. However, all that talking he did was realized to be nothing but talk, as he notes he isn't on that level. After fighting the Seraphim with Kaku, Luffy, and Zoro, he seemingly is done fighting the Straw Hats, until Kizaru shows up where he tests his luck on Zoro. During the scuffle, Lucci and Zoro would go back and forth, although most of the attacks and fight itself was off-screened. We see Zoro use 3-sword style to defeat Lucci, but the only thing about this that goes well for Lucci is it shows his endurance is pretty incredible. After not fully recovering from Luffy's attacks, he fights Zoro where he takes such a severe attack and can still stand until Jinbei finishes him off. Lucci's attack power isn't too defined, as most of the fight with Zoro was off-screened, and the only other hits he landed was on Sentomaru and the Seraphim with Luffy and the others. His speed is pretty solid though, as he does get remarked for his speed a few times and has an awakened Devil Fruit. He isn't a terrible fighter, but the main problem is that he didn't land many attacks that we can take and define his strength with. I'm confident enough that his strength is enough to defeat Jinbei or the Seraphim, but I'm not too sure about the rest of the guys on this list.
Alright. At the number 9 spot, we've got Vinsmoke Sanji. Oh man, am I ready to glaze this guy. Anyways, Sanji was on one this arc, going from place to place to do whatever he can for the ladies, but what exactly granted him this spot on this list? If you ever watched Prime vs. Gambler, you probably know the whole spiel, but if you haven't, you're dead to me. On a real note, Sanji's actually pretty strong, and here's why. For his strength, his most notable feat is from Wano, and that's absolutely violating Queen the Plague. Queen is an all-star, and he even states himself that they're all-stars for their durability, and I think the specific words were toughness, and Sanji bodied him as soon as he decided to use Ifrit. Sanji also decimated Kizaru's lasers, so yeah, you know. Sanji's durability increased drastically as well, taking an off-guard slash from Queen and taking Fishman Karate to the face by S-Shark. But the most crazy part is his speed. You guys know the saying, the fight starts and Sanji disappears. The fact that in base, Sanji can perception blitz Queen is so crazy because Queen in a weaker form perceived hybrid Marco, and Sanji gets even faster than that with East Janbei. Stop sleeping on my guy.
Up next is the man consistently one step ahead of him in Roronoa Zoro. Like I said earlier, during Egghead, he had a run-in with Lucci where he did defeat him. This wasn't the only thing he did in Egghead, as he does encounter this Juro and clash with him, where both guys get sent flying back. He fought Kaku again too, but it's Kaku, who really cares? and he didn't have many Egghead feats. It would be a lot better if Zoro vs Lucci didn't get off-screened, but what we can define his strength with is his feats back in Wano. During his scuffle with Kaido, we all remember him being able to permanently scar him. But this isn't even his best feat. His main fight in Wano would be against King the Wildfire, who was shown to be a serious problem for Zoro, as King with his flames on has durability that surpasses Kaido, and Zoro can harm him multiple times. King can also massively increase his speeds to a level Zoro has to predict where his attacks will come from. During this fight, he was also able to use Advanced Conqueror's Haki or Egghead. When he applies this, he can cut through King's magma and slice his wing off. He was also getting beat up a lot during this fight, showing just like always, Zoro is an endurance demon. If you would like to see a lot more in-depth analysis of Zoro vs Sanji, I made a video on that and didn't want to spend too much time on this subject.
Next on the list is Jupiter. This guy, quite frankly, did literally nothing the entire arc except get cooked, so that's why he's the first Gorosei on the list. But the fact that he's a Gorosei at all makes us believe that he should be above the commander level fighters we put below him. His regen is insane enough that he can come back almost instantly after getting decapitated by the giants. The only attack I can remember off the top of my head that he did try was sucking Luffy. Yeah, that just sounds dirty. He's number 7.
Mars, just like Jupiter, doesn't have too many feats. The guy in his Itsumade Zoan form is very agile, unlike some of the Gorosei, and does possess Conqueror's Haki. We don't see any offensive moves out of him besides using a blast raid that destroys one of the Vegapunk labs. He was the only one not to be hit by Joy Boy's Conqueror's Haki, as the combined attacks from Luffy, Sanji, Frankie, and Bonnie sent him flying back to Mary Joie. Like I said, not too many feats at all from this guy, but because he is a Gorosei member, I scale him above the likes of Zoro and Sanji. If we were to go based off strictly feats, they definitely would rank higher than them, but then again, there is a story being told, and not everything is made clear from the debut.
At number 5 we have Saturn. Finally a Gorosei we can actually talk about. Saturn pulled up on smoke and no one could really deny the aura that he had when he first arrived. He had Sanji sat on the floor for a couple chapters, which had me doing damage control even while being banned off of YouTube, but after Kuma gave the dude a sucker punch, everything went downhill for him. The most he did after this was make Luffy bleed with his power, and even then he just went on to get cooked by him. I also recall dude getting his limbs cut off by Brook and getting his attacks blocked by Chopper. What are we even doing? Can't believe people actually had bro above Kizaru. That was definitely led by delusion. Rip Bozo.
Just to add on as to why we have Saturn over Mars and Jupiter is because if you watch my Gorosei ranking video, you would know these bullets he shoots are very powerful. They're so strong that it can blow up Warcury and cause him to regenerate, while Luffy, even in Gear 5, couldn't do this to him whatsoever, even when doing it to other Gorosei, showing these bullets are a better feat than anything Mars and Jupiter have so far displayed. Coming in at number 4, we have Juro. This is where the Gorosei really start to feel like the threats that they were portrayed to be. The last 3 Gorosei could have been scaled under both Zoro and Sanji if not for the fact they are Gorosei member and plot saves them. Juro, however, is different, as he is a very fast and mobile fighter who, just like Mihawk, seems very accurate with his slashes. He was also able to cut off the top of Egghead easily and one-shot the upgraded pacifista around the island. Now, I did say earlier he had a clash with Zoro where both fighters were sent flying back, but he was also kicked by Sanji with Ifrit Janbei, but he immediately counters by biting him down, even though yes, the giants did stop him from doing serious damage to Sanji. Now, if you want to do some crazy scaling for Juro, this is just an idea, not so much of a belief, but his endurance can be scaled very high, as Sanji with Diable Janbei can hurt Eshark, who has Lunarian DNA. So if you wanted to, you could say his endurance grants him the ability to walk off attacks that can hurt creatures more durable than Kaido. Like I said, I don't believe in that myself, but there is always a wank upskill to go around.
At number 3 we have the strongest Gorosei in our opinion, Warcury. Warcury has 2 feats that put him above the rest for us. One is his Conqueror's Haki Roar. Now, this feat has aged a little badly, but that'll make sense in a second. Basically, what the Roar told us was that he has insane Haki, but what everyone gasped was Jinbei's reaction to it. Jinbei said something like, "What outrageous haki," and it completely reflected his reaction to Shanks' haki back in Wano. This of course aged badly because Joy Boy's haki was revealed and it cooked him, sent him back to Mirijoa, and then the Giants compared his haki directly to Shanks. So the old comparison isn't really valid anymore. But a more concrete feat that hasn't aged and will never age is Warcury's durability. What he was doing never happened against Kaido, not once. And Warcury's durability was so insane that Luffy was getting hurt by trying to hurt him. It's also the same thing that happened with that guy from Whole Cake Island when Luffy would try to clash with him, implying Warcury's haki is possibly stronger than Luffy's. What do y'all think though? Talk it up in the comments. But before I hand over the video to Vertex, at number 2 we have Luffy. This arc was something everyone thought would focus on Frankie or even Sanji because of the science, but nah, this was Nika Glaze arc. Luffy was doing everything, fighting Admirals, fighting Gorosei, helping Bonnie. Bro was getting active, but let's get into why dude is so strong. First off, Luffy's haki is insane. As early as before his awakening, he already split the skies with the world's strongest creature and was going blow for blow with him in base and his other gears. Then after getting his awakening, he became even stronger, almost outright surpassing the beast and overpowering him in a clash. In Egghead, he'd go on to fight with an Admiral, then use every Gorosei he fought against as a punching bag. Dude was going insane, but with all that said, Luffy definitely earned this number 2 spot. But there's someone at the number 1 spot we've all been waiting for, and Vertex will cook that up.
Now, at number 1, we of course have my glorious GOAT, Big Business Borsalino Kizaru. If you are one of those people that believe the fight with him and Luffy wasn't even close, or that there was any victor in that fight at all, you are very wrong. A lot of agenda piece forgets about the story being told, and Oda doesn't care for our agendas the way we do. Kizaru was mentally nerfed the entire time. Even if you think it doesn't matter, well, Rayleigh and many others would tell you it does. Kizaru was only down the entire time once the Gorosei showed up because he was too upset with what he did. He wasn't taken out by Luffy or anyone, he was taken out by his own spirit being crushed. He stalls and tells Vegapunk multiple times he doesn't want to do this. Even when fighting Luffy, he tells him this as well. Now, if we go into the actual fight itself, well, a Snake Man Luffy that could apply pressure to Kaido gets stronger due to the post island buffs and got no diff by Kizaru, meaning Kizaru would have done way better against Kaido there, especially in a non-mentally nerfed state. He also is stated to have the best defense, which seems to be true as he can just put his hands up, which stops Luffy's punches and gets into scuffles with him while he is in Gear 5. Plus, when Luffy lands some hits, Kizaru is seemingly waiting for it and wanting it to happen, so he can have an excuse of why he didn't kill Vegapunk originally. On top of this, the only attack that landed on Kizaru, which wasn't a sneak attack, was Stargun, who after both men fall to the floor, Saturn acknowledges Kizaru wasn't fighting anything close to his full strength. This attack doesn't do much at all, as in 1124, Kizaru is shown to have no wounds or scrapes, as well as the Marines not being able to find any wounds on him prior to this. Kizaru has said multiple times this was the most difficult thing he has ever had to do, and even Akainu understood this and complied with him, showing Kizaru had better defense and took less damage than Luffy, while Luffy took pretty much no damage at all from the Gorosei. But yes, the only attacks we saw him take that would need him having bandages were Kizaru's. He is obviously faster as well, and Luffy had multiple lunch breaks to restore his stamina and strength. If we go stat for stat, what does Luffy really have over Kizaru? Hack, sure, it's Gear 5, but really I don't see anything else he takes. I mean, let's go over it one more time. Kizaru damaged Luffy, but Luffy didn't damage him. Kizaru is obviously faster and clearly more durable as well. He can endure these hits and take no physical damage, and was holding back the entire time. If a full-powered non-holding back Kizaru were to fight Gear 5, the outcome starts to become clear. Luffy also wouldn't have his multiple lunch breaks he had in Egghead, as we saw the time they did fought that while Kizaru was holding back, they can stalemate even though Kizaru never took real damage, and the damage Luffy felt in the beginning was enough to hurt him the rest of the arc, and even after he is still left in bandages. Remember, the only attacks we saw him take pretty much at all was Kizaru's attacks. It's not that I despise Luffy or anything like that. He is my guy, but I seriously don't believe he was actually stronger than Kizaru and Egghead. But he definitely will surpass him in the future. But for now, the #1 spot in Egghead goes to Borsalino Kizaru. Well guys, there you have it. I hope you enjoyed. Subscribe if you did. Shout out to Gambler for helping out with this video. Make sure to check out his channel, link in the description. Let me know what your guys' list is. I'm always curious about your guys' opinions. Make sure to use code VERDICTS10 at checkout on Anime Express for amazing streetwear. Shout out to Tiberius for the thumbnail. He makes quality thumbnails. If you would like some of your own, hit him up. Link will be in the description, as well as my Twitter at verdicts_ for more of my takes. And without further ado, you guys can get out of here.